Yeah, all right. Welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. We're here. I'm Dave. AJ is here. Freddie Garcia is here. We're here on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Friday nights on TSN 690, talking mixed martial arts. We got a lot of MMA to get to over the next hour. UFC 239 coming up this weekend, coming up on Saturday night. Jon Bones Jones is back. Finally taking on Thiago Santos, another challenger for the man that many consider the greatest fighter to ever live. Johnny Bones Jones coming up Saturday night in Las Vegas. It's International Fight Week. Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm in the co-main event. George Masvidal, Ben Askren on this pay-per-view. Luke Rockhold, Jan Blachowicz, and Diego Sanchez, the legend, against Michael Chiesa. A fantastic pay-per-view coming up on Saturday night from the UFC. This is the pay-per-view of the summer. We're going to preview that card. We'll also recap what happened in Minneapolis last weekend. The huge knockout win by Francis Ngannou over the former champion Junior Dos Santos. What does this mean for Ngannou? What does this mean for JDS? We'll break that down. Also, you know, some news around MMA that we got to get to. Malky Kawa, you know who this guy is? He's the agent of Jon Bones Jones and many other stars.
Milky Way?
Malky Kawa, he's a top agent, and he says he's going to be breaking all his news himself. He's not going to be going to MMA reporters. He's going to be announcing all the news, and we'll read what he said on Twitter, and we'll debate whether or not it's a good idea for Malky to be doing this. But first, I want to start not with the water bottle challenge. I know everybody's excited about that. People have been kicking the cap off water bottles. I saw Max Holloway do it first.
I saw McGregor do it.
Well, I think Holloway seemed to have done it first. I think he invented it. But it seems like everybody in combat sports or MMA is doing this water bottle challenge where you kick the top off a water bottle without knocking the bottle down. We're not going to be doing that on the show.
Come on, we got to do it.
Well, not right now. Maybe later.
Let's do it Saturday.
I don't want to get all this equipment that we have wet, you know, because with a water bottle, things could go wrong.
But you think
and I don't
real?
really believe in our kicking technique that, you know, we'd be able to pull it off.
Dave, is it real or do you think it's edited? I'm not too sure. How can all these guys be able to knock it off like Bruce Lee?
I don't think it's not everybody's pulling it off that nicely.
Well, when I saw Holloway, I said, wow, impressive. But I've seen so many other people do it since it might not be as impressive as I thought in the end. Like, I thought when I saw it the first time, I'm like, I can't do that. So props to Max Holloway.
The Karate Hottie, I saw her doing it, and she kind of missed. So I got to give her – did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she tried. She missed, and she actually flipped out of the screen. It was, like, really funny. But, hey, I saw McGregor do it, and it looked awesome.
I saw Max Holloway do it the first time, and it looked super impressive. I was like, wow, Max Holloway, that's really cool. I don't think I could do that.
Whoa.
And then I saw other people do it, and I was like, oh, other people were doing it. I still don't think I could pull it off.
We're going to do it Saturday.
We'll try it out on Saturday. We have a big UFC party coming up on Saturday. We'll be live on YouTube. A watch-along, which is something we don't do very often. On the YouTube channel, we'll be live right after the UFC 239 pay-per-view. So that's going to be going on. Well, maybe not right after. I think during the pay-per-view, right? Like
that you want to do this?
Yeah. We're going to do it during the
After a couple
pay-per-view.
of drinks and pizza?
Yeah. We're going to have a good time. We're going to party. We're going to play a little bit of poker during the prelims.
Somebody
and
better
then
have the
maybe a
911
fight
ready.
or two into the main pay-per-view card. We're going to go live on YouTube and watch along with you. So go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then click that bell so you get the alerts whenever we're on, whenever there's new content. And by the way, there's a lot of new content on the YouTube channel going on all the time. If you're listening to us on the radio or on iTunes or something like that, just know that there's so much more going on YouTube. Dave and Johnny Live, a YouTube exclusive show. All the info for that on our sweet new website at ringsidereport.net.
You say that so well, Dave. It's incredible.
What?
So we'll be kind of like
plugging
everybody.
all the gimmicks?
Yeah, for sure, man. We are like
Gotta
the number
plug-
one show in MMA in North North
Gotta plug-
America, or number two.
Gotta
Joe
plug the
Rogan.
gimmicks, AJ.
Listen,
not.
I was gonna say we'll be like people's date on Saturday.
That's
we're gonna
right.
be. You're lonely. You want to watch the UFC? Watch it with us.
Yeah.
And Johnny North and Muscles Marco, who's gonna be pouring the wine and cutting the pizza.
Sometimes
doing
I'm-
our hair and makeup.
Sometimes
that kind
I'm
of
by
stuff.
myself watching UFC pay-per-views or
I'm there,
UFC
buddy. I watch
events.
it with you.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm by myself in my living room watching fights like I was. Oh, no, I wasn't by myself this past Saturday. Actually, I wasn't even watching the fights on Saturday. I did watch the fights by myself, but it was like Monday morning
That's
on my
terrible.
couch, and I watched them on my PVR. That's the only way to
That
do
sounds
it.
like Fred. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I didn't even watch them the day after. I kind of forgot that Ngannou had knocked out Dos Santos,
Man.
and I was like, oh, yeah. I was kind of cleaning out the PVR, deleting stuff.
I was gonna say you don't have any. Why would you do that? But you were on the post show. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was on YouTube Saturday night because there's so much going on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost forgot we were doing the Fighter Fest, and that was a more compelling event for me.
Whoa, what are you talking
Fighter Fest, the AEW wrestling show on Saturday night,
Blasphemy.
instead of the UFC show that we had this past Saturday there in Minneapolis. And that's why we did a post show on YouTube with Johnny North for Fighter Fest, and that was a lot of fun. Great wrestling product. Freddie was watching Fighter Fest at his place. I was watching Fighter Fest.
I was watching both.
Well, I had both on,
big
but
screen was for Fighter Fest, and
Yes.
smaller screen was for the UFC.
You
and
know
I was
where
doing
watching.
doing the same thing. I had the UFC on the laptop and the Fighter Fest on the TV.
You know what I was doing?
You were watching
Strictly
only the
UFC,
UFC
man.
because you
It
didn't
was
know
an awesome card,
you
man.
didn't know Fighter Fest was going on.
No,
You're
you
not a
did
pro
tell me.
wrestling fan.
No, I did. You told me, but like we can't
Well.
all watch. Somebody's got to watch the UFC and talk about it.
Well, I watched the Ngannou Dos Santos
No.
fight, and I think it was better the way I did it because I didn't have to
No,
spend
no.
I didn't have to spend 3 hours waiting
It
for the
was-
fight to happen.
No,
I watched
no.
something else, and then I got to watch the fight, and it only took me 71 seconds because that's as long as the fight lasted. It was a 71-second fight where Francis Ngannou knocked out Junior Dos Santos, continuing his reign as the knockout king of the UFC, knocking out the knockout artists. Knocked out Alistair Overeem, now Junior Dos Santos. Francis Ngannou is stacking up a mighty impressive list of UFC heavyweights. Cain Velasquez.
It's crazy.
I mean, this guy is on a run,
well, you're saying 71 seconds, right?
and it didn't take long to finish Junior Dos Santos. That's why I was like, yeah, whatever. I could watch it very quickly.
Yeah, but the thing is that it wasn't just that fight. I mean, the whole card was awesome. So it was basically a knockout fest, or literally submission fest, but it was a knockout card in Minneapolis. It was a great card, and you're right about Ngannou. I mean, that fight was impressive. And you said it in 71 seconds, he knocked him out, which was impressive. I didn't think it was going to go that fast. But when you look at Ngannou in his last 3 fights, like it's showing that in his combined time of 3 fights, I think it's 142 seconds, and that's the max of these 3 fights put together. He's not like
Yeah,
he's won
that's
3
it.
fights in 142 seconds.
And that's kind of what we were
It's
talking
crazy.
about on the show last week. If Junior Dos Santos can last the first couple of rounds, he's probably going to win the fight because Ngannou, he comes out strong, and if he's not able to knock you out immediately, maybe there's not that much left there after what we saw with Stipe and then the Derek Lewis fight. You see that maybe Ngannou doesn't have the best gas tank in the world. But what he does have is knockout power, and when he's fresh, in the first
Scary.
5 to 10 minutes of the fight, I'd say, in the first couple of rounds, Francis Ngannou's super dangerous, and that's what we saw. We saw a knockout artist who, when he touches you, you go to sleep, and it's something that you very rarely see in MMA, where a guy hits you, doesn't really look like he lands flush or lands with a perfect shot, but it just puts you down. And Junior Dos Santos was put down with a shot
that was clipped.
He just kind of clipped him, but it
Yep.
wasn't like a great shot. It wasn't a perfect punch, but you could see he doesn't have to hit you with everything. If he hits you with a bit, Ngannou will put your lights out, and that's what he did to JDS. Like, it was very impressive to see that, man, Ngannou's power is so great that even if he hits you with like a 50 to 60% shot, he's still putting you down.
Exactly.
Well, you see, he puts you down, and I think once JDS was down, I don't want to say he was scared, but yeah, in a way, he was so scared of Ngannou's power that he just decided to protect himself.
I
And
think he was hurt, too.
I think
he
was
hurt.
probably hurt,
Yeah, but he wasn't there also.
maybe with
I mean,
somebody else, JDS tries to get back up, but then, you know, he knows Ngannou's next power shot is coming.
But
so.
Francis was just laying in these shots when JDS was down, covered up. Like, he gets dropped, and then he's down on the ground in a turtle position, and Ngannou's just throwing shots, and you could tell they feel like a ton of bricks.
Well,
Every time he's throwing
And that's
them,
what I'm saying.
it's
He's
like-
just covering up at that point. He's just trying to survive.
just
and he
wants to end the
can't
fight.
take
You're absolutely
anymore,
right.
and he can't defend himself. It's too much.
But that's the scary
was
part
too
of
much.
this, Dave, is that if Ngannou is able to get a clean shot, being an uppercut or being a power right, at full force, I don't know what's going to happen, because with Dos Santos, he just grazed him. It was like literally a graze, but there was enough power behind that to like
Well, we
to
know.
literally put
We
him
know-
into
no,
the
no,
next
no.
universe.
We know what happens. The Alistair Overeem fight happens. Remember
Absolutely.
that knockout?
That was
And that
scary.
was one where I was like, okay, this is what happens when Ngannou lands the perfect shot on you.
True.
He
True.
And that's
delivers
and
a
that-
highlight reel.
And that's why I'm
Absolutely.
saying JDS in his head, he was hurt, of course, but he's probably saying to himself, I don't want to end up like Overeem. I'm just going to cover up here and fight another day. Because he got back up after, it wasn't a knockout like Overeem got knocked out. Great performance for Ngannou. And what I came out of it, I was asking to myself, does Daniel Cormier have 2 fights in him? Can he fight maybe Stipe and Ngannou? Maybe he doesn't want to, but
Would you want to?
probably not.
No.
I wouldn't want to. If I'm DC, I'd take the Stipe fight, which he has to do, which is coming up right in August, and then either fight Jones again or call it a career. Like, why go in there with Francis Ngannou? Like, not to say DC couldn't beat him, but
You can't get clipped by
man.
him, that's for sure.
Ngannou's so dangerous and so scary. But I mean, if you're on the other hand, if you're DC, like, why not?
But you're DC, you defeated Miocic, who defeated Ngannou. So in your head, you're like, I'm the king of this division.
Yeah,
He's got a point there.
but he hasn't defeated Ngannou. And Ngannou,
I would like
losing,
to see that match.
since losing to Stipe and then losing to Derek Lewis, has gone on a 3-fight win streak, and he's beat Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos in back-to-back fights. And Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos were the number 1 and 2 heavyweights in the world for a very long time, up until very recently.
the 2 most dangerous heavyweights out there.
They were the 2 best guys, and Ngannou just beat them in the first round in back-to-back fights. Like, if you don't give a guy a heavyweight title shot after that, I don't really know what else Ngannou's going to have to do to get the next shot. At this point, I think he deserves it, but I don't know if it'll be against Daniel Cormier. It might be, to determine a new champion when DC goes away, or an interim title,
Or maybe
whatever.
another fight with Lewis, right?
I'm not saying like I don't know.
No,
I'm not saying
that fight
DC's
was so
scared.
awful. I don't think.
but maybe
Dana,
he has to redeem himself on that. He needs to. I think he needs to redeem himself.
That
No
fight
point.
was like he lost. I agree. It would be good to avenge the loss, but that was such a bad spectacle. Dana White's not putting that fight back
Well,
together.
you never know
And
because
also
Lewis has a huge following, right? So
Yeah, but-
it's still going to be a very viewed fight.
AJ. Ngannou just beat Junior Dos Santos. Derek Lewis just lost to Junior Dos Santos. It's not a fight you make. It just doesn't make sense.
And look, this is what I would say. I don't know how you guys see Cormier Miocic too, but I see it as Cormier probably winning again. Whereas I didn't see Cormier fight Ngannou. I would like to see that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm hyped for Stipe DC. That's a great fight. But I would be even more hype, I think, if DC
I think
would face Ngannou.
No, you
Me
know what
too.
I think? You know what I think, honestly, guys?
I would be too, 100%, because we've
Yeah.
seen DC and Stipe before. DC beat him, and I'm picking DC to beat him again. I think we all are.
No, for sure.
Are you picking Stipe to beat DC in the rematch?
I don't think so. No, DC's
right?
going to win this.
So I think Fred is 100% right. I think we'd all be excited, more excited, for Daniel Cormier's next fight if it were against Francis Ngannou. And I would
don't know about
I would
that,
go a
Dave.
step further, and I would say that I'd be more excited to see DC fight Ngannou over Jon Jones.
No, I was just about to say that.
Because again, we've seen it twice.
No.
We haven't just seen it once like DC and Stipe. DC and Jon Jones have fought twice. The only way that I would maybe give the edge to DC and Jones is if it were at heavyweight. And even then,
Exactly.
I think I'd rather see Francis fight DC. I think it would be more fun. I think Jones beats DC at heavyweight or light heavyweight if they fight a third time. We've seen it twice before. Jones is still the man. I want to see if Francis can beat DC, and if Francis can beat DC, then he fights Jon Jones. And if Jon Jones and if DC can beat Francis, then give him Jon Jones again. But no, that's what I'm
That's
going
not the money
for.
fight, Dave. I'm sorry. And to be honest,
don't
you
care about
stole
what
my
the-
thunder. Sorry, Fred. I know
I
I'm
don't
cutting
care.
you there. But
I'm not
you
here.
stole my thunder,
I'm not
man.
here to make money for the UFC. I'm here to tell you what fights I want to see.
You know what? Honestly speaking, this is exactly what's going to go down. Once Jones wins this Saturday, he's going to step into the ring, man, as a heavyweight, and it's going to be the most watched fight ever to see the trilogy happen.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will, man.
It won't
It's
be the
gonna go
most
down.
watched fight ever.
It will be because
crazy.
you're looking at Jones going into the heavyweight, and this is what's going to happen.
Stop the clock. Did you just say that Jones DC 3 will be the most watched fight
At
ever?
heavyweight, yes.
At heavyweight, most
heavyweight.
watched heavyweight MMA fight ever,
Yeah.
or most watched
'Cause there's gonna
fight?
be-
No. Qualify
most
this.
watched.
Either way,
Either way, it's ridiculous.
No, it's not, and that's
You know
what's going to
why
happen.
it's ridiculous?
Because
One
Jones
name.
wants that.
One name.
There's only one Conor McGregor.
No. He's talking about heavyweights.
Heavyweight.
And I'm going to give
Oh,
you
you're
one
talking about
name.
Brock Lesnar.
Barack Lesnar.
Well, that's a fight I would say to you I'd like to see with Ngannou, and that would be the money fight. If Lesnar wants to come back, put me on the camera there, Dave. Put me on. Where
No.
are you? Come on, homie.
Kicking
Put
you
me
off.
on. Listen to this. Brock Lesnar coming back, fighting Ngannou. Jones fighting Cormier. OMG.
Brock Lesnar's not coming back.
He's not coming
He
back.
just signed a new contract.
I know
with
he's not coming back,
WWE.
but you know what's
And-
going to happen by the end of the year.
and
It's
his
not gonna happen.
advocate runs Raw now, so
Who's
why
that?
would he come back?
Who's
Paul
his ad-
Heyman.
Oh.
Man,
really?
you don't follow wrestling.
I do,
So
man.
what?
Of course I
Who
follow.
could
Listen to you guys all the time.
Who could Ngannou fight in the meantime? Like I mean,
Derek Lewis redeem himself on that fight. Come on, guys.
Speaking of UFC heavyweights in pro wrestling, you know where Cain Velasquez is going
I
to be in
heard about
August?
that.
He's going to be at Triple Mania, which is Triple A Mexican wrestling promotion.
know.
Cain Velasquez is going to be teaming with Cody Rhodes.
I can't believe my mechanic told me that today.
Oh, well, okay. Is he Mexican?
My homie. Hola, Mexico.
So this year, Triple Mania, it's like the WrestleMania of Mexican wrestling. Well, of AAA anyways. It's a very big wrestling show. It takes place August 3rd in Arena Ciudad de Mexico in Mexico City.
Awesome.
El Ciudad de Mexico,
But we said that a long
obviously.
time ago, that
And it will
Velasquez.
be Cain Velasquez teaming up with Psycho Clown.
Psycho Clown.
There's a lot of clown
It?
wrestlers in Mexico these days. And Cody Rhodes, who is one of the guys who runs the great new wrestling promotion, All Elite Wrestling, and of course is the son of the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. So Cain Velasquez making his Mexican wrestling debut at Triple Mania against Los Mercenarios, Tejano Jr. and Taurus, and a to-be-announced opponent, a mystery opponent. So who knows who it might be? Maybe it'll be Junior Dos Santos. Maybe it'll be Brock Lesnar. Who knows? It's not going to be Brock, but like a mystery opponent against Cain Velasquez. They better bring somebody good. I'm very excited about the prospect of Cain Velasquez in wrestling. But he's a pro wrestler now.
We talked about that way back. I think it was almost
his knee isn't that bad from the Ngannou fight, right?
Well, you know what? That means one thing. First of all, we said that like about 6 months ago that Velasquez was like sort of tampering with wrestling, and now he's doing it.
He went to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando and like worked out with them and was kind of taught some basics.
But what does that mean right now? It's probably over for Velasquez.
In MMA?
I think so.
Maybe.
I think this is it.
Look,
well,
I'll wish him good luck.
If it's successful in Mexico, this could be the end of his MMA career, and he may start a new pro wrestling career. Could you imagine Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez like in the WWE
as a tag team
or against each other? That'd be a good time. WrestleMania.
How about together, man? That'd be awesome.
I'm intrigued to see how he performs.
Me too. But look at Ronda Rousey; she did very well.
He's a good athlete.
Matt Riddle is
and he
excellent.
has a wrestling background, so
that's it. I think Cain could do well.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of crossovers in the future from guys in the UFC or Bellator going into WWE. I mean, it's a perfect marriage, I think.
Cain Velasquez is a real interesting one, though. Like that's one I didn't.
I don't
know
if he has the personality.
That's it. It's not one I expected.
He's so quiet.
He's very quiet. He's very mild mannered, but I know he's got personality. I've interviewed Cain Velasquez a few times, several years back, and there's a lot more to Cain than people realize.
Like what?
He's a fun guy. Like he's not boring. Like you never really got that personality from Cain. He's very humble, but he's funny. Like he's a smart guy. He's not dumb. You know, like you don't really get too much personality from Cain. The UFC portrayal of Cain Velasquez didn't really get like, oh, he's kind of a funny, playful dude. And he is. You know, I think he could do well in pro wrestling.
See, I wonder if he goes through the Mexican route or he goes through the American. Like right now it's AAA. It's in Mexico, I guess.
Yes, Mexico City.
So,
he has a big fan following,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. He has roots from Mexico and all that. I'm not sure if the American public wrestling fan, would be as much of a fan. But hey, I'm intrigued. I want to see what he brings to.
Depending who he beats,
honestly,
right?
I think this is a really smart thing for him to do is not start in the WWE or not start somewhere where he can actually build himself as a professional wrestler, make a real name for himself, start at Triple Mania, maybe wrestle in AAA, maybe do some American indie promotions, work his way up in the business, gain some respect as a professional wrestler and gain some experience. I wouldn't be surprised to see him successful. Matt Riddle did just that. Tom Lawler, Tom Lawler, former MMA fighter. Stephan Bonner. There are guys out there that are doing it the right way, and if Cain does it the right way, he can be very successful. Yes, AJ.
Thank you. So does that mean that he keeps his actual name, or does he go into a wrestling name? Like, does he go under Cain Velasquez something like Nacho Libre? I don't know.
He's Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, so he'll keep that name.
He's already a name.
No, I know that, but I'm not sure. Like sometimes when you cross over to wrestling,
he's already a brand.
Did Ronda Rousey change her name?
Rowdy.
Ken Shamrock.
She was always Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
True,
in the
true.
UFC, she was that.
No, it was Rowdy. Rowdy Piper that gave her that name. Not really, but Ken Shamrock.
Tank Abbott.
Yeah, but that was the early
Severn.
days, right? So it was a different time. It was a different time.
Well,
I mean, they're MMA guys. The reason the wrestling
Bobby
people,
Lashley.
Also, the reason the wrestling people are interested in Cain is because he's a name. It's not like there's a lot of people Cain's size that could be potential wrestlers. Cain is like, he's somebody, so you want to use that brand. I would feel it's ridiculous if he would change names.
Of course, it's like if Brock Lesnar went to the WWE and was like, I'm going to go under a mask and be somebody else. It's like, no.
Yeah, and Brock Lesnar was just like a collegiate wrestler, it wasn't even professional or anything, and he still kept his real name.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ, that's a ridiculous question. That's
it's
okay.
not ridiculous.
You don't watch enough wrestling. You don't watch enough wrestling.
I'm looking at it from a MMA perspective.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's possible.
It's all right.
How about this? How about this? CM Punk. He went under CM Punk in the UFC. I mean, that's the most ridiculous one of all.
I
he
thought
didn't
it was
even go
awesome.
under Phil
I've been
Brooks.
watching old school wrestling, and I'm like in the Punk era right now.
The Punk era.
Yeah,
Isn't
like,
he fighting soon again? What's up with that?
I'm not sure.
AEW, maybe. Hopefully.
Anyways, like
I
don't
have
really
a lot of
see
respect for CM Punk.
why
That's
CM
for sure.
Punk is such a.
You didn't like CM Punk, the pipe bomb promos? He was excellent in his time in pro wrestling. So, yeah, that's where Cain Velasquez is going. And
How much money do you think he makes out there?
what do you mean?
Like, you think he's making
Kane?
more than
For
M-
Triple
like,
Mania? Oh, I
yeah,
don't
more
know.
than the UFC. Like, is
No.
it?
Not huge money for this show, but, he can build himself up. And
And I guess he'll have like a healthier career in some sense because a lot of respect to pro wrestlers. I've seen them training. I've seen them in action. I was reffing 2 matches, and man, these guys are so athletic. I have so much respect for these guys. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So what are you saying? You saying it's going to be an easier career now in
Well,
pro
easier
wrestling?
in the sense that he won't have to worry about getting an uppercut from Nagano and
Right.
that kind of stuff, or a kick from like I don't know Overeem or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just a different game.
Still dangerous.
Still dangerous
Different kind of
in
danger.
some sense, yeah.
Different kind of danger.
But I don't know his
Did
athleticism.
you see what happened to Bobby Lashley this week on
No.
Raw? He exploded. So
What does that mean?
It was stupid. Don't worry.
Exploded.
He exploded.
Did he have
pretty
too many
much.
burritos?
You
What?
didn't see that, Fred? Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley crashed through like a stage thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a bunch of pyro that went off. It was weird. It happened on Raw this week. It was funny.
They got hurt?
Well, no. No. Of course not.
Well,
They're-
you
they're
never know, man.
fine. Man. Juicio Formiga got hurt.
Oof, did he?
He got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Joseph Benavidez beat him. What's next for Joseph Benavidez? Do they give him Henry Cejudo or what?
Well, isn't Cejudo out for a while? That's the problem. Because I would love to see Benavidez holds a win over Cejudo. So that's the logical.
But it
It
could
seems
happen.
like the fight to make if Cejudo is going to fight at 125 pounds.
But there's
I
no
saw that-
compelling matchup at 135. So like
We talked about it last week with Aljamain Sterling, right? Aljamain Sterling gave an interview to MMA Junkie this week, and he said that, if Cejudo's going to be out for a while and then maybe he defends the title at 125, if he's not going to defend his 135-pound belt because Cejudo's the champion in both weight divisions, well, Aljamain Sterling said he'd be down to fight Peter Yan in an interim title fight, which is exactly what we said should happen last week on the show.
They
so
listen to us.
thank
Dave.
you, Aljo.
They always listen
We
to
love
us.
you, Aljo. I know Weidman and the crew are listening.
For sure,
Matt
man.
Serra.
Dana White is listening. I know that.
Well, Matt Serra's got a podcast too, so he's got to steal ideas from somewhere, right?
A lot of respect to Matt Serra.
I'm kidding, Matt Serra.
I
Please
like that
don't
guy.
stretch me. Please don't stretch me.
Yeah.
We love you.
Matt Serra.
Yeah,
we still
no.
got to do that taxi ride with Johnny North. Totally different thing.
There we go. So, yeah, Joseph Benavidez with a really nice win in Minneapolis last week. Do we all agree, though, that Francis Ngannou probably should get the next title shot?
No,
Why
I don't-
not?
Like I said,
You think he should fight Derek Lewis?
I think so.
Okay, well, I don't agree with that. Fred,
all
do you
right.
think he should get the next title shot? Or, like, what happens if it's
Well, I mean,
Jon Jones?
the next title shot is Stipe. So,
Yeah, but the winner of that fight.
and when is that? August?
Yeah, next month.
No. It's,
So it's not that far away. Hey, we gotta be patient. We gotta see what happens with that. But whoever wins that match, of course, Ngannou's in the discussion. I don't think, unless from what I've read, Jon Jones for right now doesn't really have plans of going to heavyweight.
Correct.
Well, I don't know about that. You think so? I
That's-
think there's a lot more
That's
talk
what he's
about
been
that.
saying.
That's what he's been saying. The only talk about it has been guys like you and different people that want to see it.
Listen,
But it's not something that he
Jones-
wants to do. Him and his team, I'm just giving you the facts.
Yeah.
Him and his team are talking strictly about doing things in the light heavyweight division. Jon Jones is talking about being a 20-time world champion. He wants to win that belt, defend that belt 20 times. He is looking at being the greatest light heavyweight in the world, and moving up to heavyweight doesn't seem like something he or
He's
his
already
team are
the
interested
greatest
in.
light heavyweight.
You know what? Remember what I
The
said,
greatest champion then.
Dave. Remember
And
what
he
I
could
said.
be, right? Like, if Jon Jones decides to just stay at light heavyweight forever, you think anybody beats him?
Well,
No,
yeah,
probably
there's
not.
Johnny Walker that's
Oh.
coming up. And remember what I said? I said that a long time ago. Like I said about Luke Rockhold, and I'm going to say it again.
Like you
The
said
next-
about Alexander Gustafsson, like you said about, who's that other guy? Anthony
Anthony
Smith.
Smith.
Well, they went 5 rounds, man. So it was like a sparring match. But regardless, what it comes down to is I think the future for Jon Jones will be like he said. He wants to ruin the career of or the retirement party for DC by taking away the heavyweight title. And that's going to be the fight that's going to happen.
That's a storyline that you have built up in your mind.
Listen, man, every time I say something, the UFC always like sort of makes that match.
It's not real. It's not real.
It's going to happen.
I'm down for heel Jon Jones.
If you listen to what Jones and DC have been saying about each other, they're both over it.
No, not at all.
The only people that aren't over it are the fans.
Not at all. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be the New Year end fight. It's going to be Jones against Cormier.
I'll tell you this.
That's going to happen for the heavyweight. That's going to end 2019.
I may be in the minority of MMA fans and maybe in the minority on this show. I don't need to see those two ever fight again.
Boo.
I'm over it just like Jones and DC are. They don't want it. I don't want it either, and I don't want it because it's not that they don't want it that I don't care. I just don't want it.
Listen, the fans
because I know
want
Jon Jones wins every time. We've seen it twice.
At heavyweight, we got to see.
Earlier, you said that the fun fight is DC against Ngannou, and I kind of disagree there. It might be the better fight.
You said that, and I was agreeing with you.
No, I didn't say that. It might be the better fight, the more like technical fight, but the more fun fight, without a doubt, is Jon Jones against DC.
Yeah,
just for the trash talk.
Side 3 weeks in a row.
So I want Jon Jones if Jon Jones is gonna go to heavyweight, like AJ says, he needs to take the mic and just go like, "Hey DC, I'm gonna make you cry and give me your title."
Exactly.
And what DC's gonna do then? What's DC gonna do?
He's
gonna cry and give him his title, or he's gonna defend it.
He'll probably defend it and lose, and then cry after. And you know what? I like DC too much to want to see that happen again.
I love DC.
I don't want that for DC. And you know what you talk about is the trash talk and the hype and all this stuff that doesn't move me.
But it moves the market. It moves the market.
What
Dave.
I want to see is a fight where I cannot fathom an outcome. I want to see a fight where I'm like, well, how's this going to finish? Who's going to win here? How's this all going to go? And usually those fights are fights I haven't seen before. I'm not a big fan of a rematch. I'm not big into that. I like to see things I've never seen before.
I'm just saying, if Jon Jones wants to go to heavyweight, well, he's taking over. So like DC, either fight him or give him the title. So DC then goes retire, just goes to retirement without giving a fight?
No, he fights Ngannou after he beats Stipe. DC's going to beat Stipe, then he's going to beat Ngannou, and then he's going to retire as the greatest heavyweight of all time.
And you know what? Like,
greatest heavyweight ever, he retires off that, boom. He doesn't need Jon Jones to be part of his legacy. Okay, he lost to him.
Sure, he does. Sure, he does.
No,
because
he doesn't.
There's a lot of controversy in those fights as well. We're looking at Jon Jones with possible picograms in his system.
Controversy in your mind?
No, that's
no
factual. That's
here.
factual. Everything from like illegal drugs, to like banned substances and that kind of stuff. That like, and I'm not saying it. The public's saying it as well.
No. Actually, you are saying it.
I am saying it.
You're the only one saying it on this show.
I'm talking for the public out there that says the same thing I'm saying. Listen, what it comes down to is everybody wants to see that fight again.
No.
Just like everybody wants to see McGregor fight Mayweather too.
Right, sure. You're saying everybody, but you're not including me.
Because you're on the opposite side. That's okay. Potatoes. Like,
potatoes.
That's fine.
Who says potatoes?
But it's all right, Dave. But honestly, people want to see that fight again.
All right. We got to take a short pause here on the radio side. When we come back, we will preview the Jon Jones Thiago Santos fight. Is AJ going to pick another Jon Jones opponent, or will he be correct this time? What? A great UFC 239 card coming up Saturday night. We will preview that when we come back. Short pause for the radio side on TSN 690. Stay with us. And we're back. Welcome. It is Ringside Report. We are on TSN 690 Friday nights talking mixed martial arts every Friday night at 7 p.m. And we're on YouTube as well. You can check us out Thursday nights at 8 p.m. on YouTube for Ringside Report Live, the YouTube show. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. We talk MMA and we talk about whatever else. I think we're going to talk about a little bit of Major League Baseball on the post show, and maybe some Waylon Jennings as well. All sorts of stuff because there's a little bit of a Waylon Jennings theme on the show. If you're watching the show, which you can watch on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, you will notice that Fred and I, on this 4th of July weekend, going full country with our sweet new Waylon Jennings T-shirts. Fred and I did a dual order for the
tell me?
Waylon shop, because I know you're not a big fan of Waylon Jennings, and here we got our little Waylon Jennings doll to keep us company on the show. He's always been crazy.
He might be a Waylon Jennings fan without knowing. Because, I mean, like, the Dukes of Hazzards, that's like his generation. So
I was a Waylon Jennings fan, and I only discovered it recently.
If he's able to sing the theme song of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Roscoe Pico Train.
No.
It's
the good old boys.
Yeah, good old
Just
boys.
some good old boys.
Yeah,
that's not far.
Not bad, AJ. All right, you're on
Get
the
the
team.
words. I want to sing it.
That's your generation, man.
What
I'll
do
tell
you
you
mean
what.
my generation?
We'll do a sing-along
Remember
little bit
Daisy
later.
Duke? Man, she was Daisy Duke.
All right, AJ,
Come on,
let's
Fred.
not have a Me Too
Dave,
moment on
put
the
up a-
show. Let's stay cool, okay? So let's get to UFC 239. We will be live during UFC 239, a UFC 239 watch-along show, which is pretty cool, something that we don't do very often on our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to check that out Saturday night as UFC 239 is going on. So go subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and click the bell so you'll get an alert when we do go live on Saturday night for our UFC 239 watch-along. We're all going to be here in the Ringside Report studios to watch UFC 239. Jon Jones and Thiago Santos. youtube.com/ringsidereport.net is the channel. More info on our website, ringsidereport.net.
Sounds cool, man. Are
Very
you
easy.
going to show the poker game as well, or just the fights?
I don't think we're going to show the poker game. I don't want to show illegal gambling.
Right, so people can see if you're really not cheating. Hashtag.
Yeah, because I won last time.
2 times. He's won twice.
No, I won once.
Was it once?
Last time it was my buddy Paul who won.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Maybe
Is he
I'll
gonna be there?
Should we invite him? He beat us last time.
Yeah, Paul's
I
a
don't
cool
mind.
guy, man.
Yeah.
He's
No,
a cool
we should
guy.
invite Paul.
The
I'm
more
gonna
the
call Paul.
merrier.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Paul's my main
But
man.
you know who will give him a challenge? Muscles Marco. I'm telling you, that guy's a shark.
Well, is Marco coming?
He's supposed to be coming.
Look at us making plans.
I think you always say that.
No, I know, but he's got a girlfriend and things get a little bit rough
All right, let's
for him.
not reveal Muscles Marco's personal information.
Oh, sorry.
I know how much.
I think the problem is AJ's committing for him without talking to him first.
I know
That's the
how-
bigger
What I got to do
problem.
is call his girlfriend. Is that what you're saying?
I know how much AJ you love when we talk about your personal life on the show.
What?
So maybe you shouldn't be revealing too much about Marco.
Muscles. I know you're listening.
You know what I mean, AJ?
Yep.
Johnny North told me some things last week.
What did Johnny say? What does Johnny know?
I don't know. He said that there's some things that
I gave
you've
him the
been-
$20, by the way.
Johnny North told me that there are some things that you are keeping secret from myself and Fred. Some secrets that you don't want to tell us because you're afraid that we might reveal them on the show. And Johnny North is privy to those secrets, and Fred and I have been left out.
So do you know the secret?
No, I don't. John didn't tell me because he is trustworthy.
That's it, John. You'd make a good bodyguard for the
Thanks,
MOB.
AJ, not trusting us.
No, it's Johnny, man.
No, it's you.
Hey, what am I saying? There's no secrets, man.
Well, apparently you told Johnny secrets that he wasn't supposed to tell me.
I don't know anything.
That's what Johnny said. All right.
Sharp and no commission. I don't know anything.
Jon Jones, Thiago Santos. Forget Johnny North. How about Johnny Jones?
Johnny Jones, man.
The undefeated, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion. 24 victories in the octagon. And he is now a 2-3-time light heavyweight champion. Multi-time defending champion. He was stripped of the title a couple times because, different issues outside of the cage, different suspensions. But he's been keeping himself on the straight and narrow for the past year.
He's been pretty active.
He's been pretty good for
Yeah.
about a year, right? Jon Jones, I guess maybe 6 months, really.
So we should celebrate that?
Yeah, let's celebrate Jon Jones being a good guy for 6 months.
Yay.
Because in December 2018, after a loss, well, not a victory originally by knockout over Daniel Cormier that was overturned because he tested positive for Turinabol. It was turned into a no contest. He was suspended from July 2017, and then fought again in December 2018. He won the vacant UFC light heavyweight title by smashing Alexander Gustafsson in 3 rounds, well, 2.5 really. And then he beat Anthony Smith in March of this year with a unanimous decision. And, that's about 6 or 7 months of Jon Jones staying active in MMA, staying on the straight and narrow, not getting suspended for anything.
He's focused. I got to give him that.
And who knows, if Jon Jones can stay focused, the sky is the limit for this guy. He's probably the best we've ever seen. He's only 31 years of age. He's going to be 32 on the 19th of the month. He's still a young man, just entering his prime, which is crazy considering he won the championship for the first time against Shogun
21.
8 years ago. And he was the youngest ever 2011.
I thought he was 21 when
he
he
was
won.
Not 21. He was like
and I'll
20.
tell you what.
Well, hold on. Let's do the math. If he's 30, Fred, you're good at math.
I thought he was.
If he's 31 now, 8 years ago, how old was he?
31 now?
Yeah, 23, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he won the UFC light heavyweight
and
championship.
I don't want to mix you up.
23 and youngest UFC champion ever.
And I don't want to mix up anybody, but I gave him the title before that. I remember saying that he's the champ. If you want to be late to the party, that's your issue. I seen Jon Jones early, and I'm like, this guy is the best light heavyweight there is out there. And
yes, and you were not the only one, because I realized that he was about to make history. I realized how great he was at 23, and I said, you know what? I am going to go to New Jersey to witness history and witness Jon Jones becoming the champion and beat Shogun. And I went, and I saw, and it was awesome. And a lot of us saw it coming. Like, you could see Jon Jones coming. When he beat Stephan Bonner in his second UFC fight, it was very impressive because it was like, man, he just demolished Bonner, who's still a good guy. And then when he beat Brandon Vera and then Vladimir Matyushenko and Ryan Bader, it was like, wow, he is slicing through these guys like they're nobody.
But he was using skills that most people didn't see as well. Like, he's still a very creative guy. He's
skills,
when you look at
size,
him,
creativity, athleticism, he's got it all.
He's got it all. He's kind of like when I was watching him the first times, I was looking at him, I'm like, he kind of looks like Bruce Lee in this, he has like this aura about him. He's magical.
Yep.
He's really bringing out the martial arts out of MMA. And I was like, this guy is amazing. And you know, sometimes I rub Jon Jones and that kind of stuff, but the truth of the...
What?
Not rub him.
Sometimes you rub Jon Jones?
Not rub.
Rib.
Rib or rub?
Yeah, rib.
I think rib is what you're looking for.
I could rub him too, sure. So the thing is, what it comes down to
Why
is
you
this. Take it easy. But what it comes down to is, I'm not saying with oil, Dave. I'm saying ribbing. Does that mean ribbing or rubbing him? No, ribbing. That's right.
Rib.
So ribs. So the thing is, what it comes down to is this, is that if he didn't do the stuff he did, what are you laughing for, Dave?
You're funny, man.
Yeah, sometimes, you know.
He's still the
I'm
greatest.
AJ.
Even if he did a bunch of stupid
But that's
things.
what I'm saying. If he didn't do that kind of stuff, man, this guy is like at the status of Muhammad Ali, man. Like, this guy is... He's
but he did do
what
that
mixed
stuff.
martial arts
He
is.
did do that stuff, so
And he's still the
unfortunately he's at the
greatest.
status of a Mike Tyson, which is still not a bad place to be.
No, he's not
No,
a Mike
he's
Tyson.
not a Mike Tyson. I think
he came
he's-
back and he's back at being a champion.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
better than Mike Tyson.
Of course.
Look, he's just as
Cool.
He's going to be just as legendary as Mike Tyson. He's just got to retire.
Look, I think he's the greatest MMA
Clean.
fighter ever. Better than George, better than Anderson, better than Fedor, better than whoever you want
better
to put.
than George.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Jon
in some
Jones never
aspects-
lost. We were saying last week he lost once to Matt Hamill, which
a
was a fluke.
disqualification that
Yeah,
he was on
exactly.
his way to winning.
Yeah, the
that-
12
He's never
6
been
rule.
in trouble. Like
No,
the
you're right.
closest thing is what, that first Gustafsson fight.
Which was awesome.
It was good, but I mean it wasn't that close. Go watch
Well,
it again.
You know what? I don't know about that, Fred. That was
we
like
were there.
on the cusp.
Fred and I were there
I
together
know,
watching
but
AJ.
you know what? People could have
We
went.
know what happened.
Look, I was watching it on big screen, replays, and the whole 9 yards.
And
I
that's
can
why-
tell you that some people were looking at that the other way, that Jones might have possibly lost, and other people obviously said that, Jones won. But regardless of the matter, it was a war. That was an awesome fight, and it brought up the status of Jones because he can go the distance. and he can have a slugfest. The guy is
That
awesome.
was the first time he was tested. Like
Yeah.
up until that point, Jon Jones had never been
But you got to be
into
tested,
the
Dave.
4th and 5th round, right? He'd never seen the championship rounds up until he had, but not often, and he hadn't really been. Well, no, he
wasn't tested like that.
He did go to decision with Rashad, and he did go to the 4th round with Vitor.
But it wasn't a slugfest
before
like
the
this.
first Gustafsson fight. But the Gustafsson fight, like, he was in trouble. The Vitor fight, he was in trouble in the first round because he almost got caught with an armbar. But the Gustafsson fight, like, he was in trouble many points in the fight, and we'd never seen anyone give Jon Jones that much of a fight. Like, Rashad went 5 rounds with him, but those were 5 rounds where Rashad was on defense and Jon Jones won every single round. So it wasn't like this was, I think, the first time, the Gustafsson fight in 2013, the first time anyone had won a round against Jon Jones, let alone multiple rounds. And I could see you giving him 2 rounds, but, it's a 5-round fight, and if you win 3 out of 5, you win the fight, and that's what Jon Jones did.
Yeah, but that's controversial.
If not 4 out of 5, really, if you're looking
I
at
don't
it
know about
objectively.
that, Dave. Come on. But anyways,
You're not a Jon Jones fan. We
No,
know
I
it,
am a
Jay.
Jon Jones fan. I was just saying that.
When you're not-
I
when you're
admired
trying
him
to
so much.
shade-
I was comparing him
when
to
you're
Trying
not-
Bruce
to
Lee.
shade all his accomplishments.
Not at all.
Every
not at all.
chance
And you
you
said
get.
you're a
Not at
Jon
all.
Jones fan, but you also say you rub him and stuff. I don't know.
Pico,
I rub him, that's right.
whatever.
Picograms.
You're always
and
talking about Picos.
cocaine and that. But that's
always talking
hey,
about
listen,
that
don't get
stuff.
mad at me. I'm just a messenger,
Rush
man.
to the yayo.
Like, you are.
Listen, I'm telling you that Jones is.
You are
they'll
a
just spit on the
fanboy.
camera.
You are a fanboy for a lot of fighters. Like, you
No,
talk about
no,
their
no. Only about
hold
Luke
on,
Rockhold.
hold on. You talk about their accomplishments and how great they are. With Jon Jones, the greatest ever, you knock him at every chance you can get.
Hello, Dave. If you go back on this
Were
tape,
you
you'll hear
supposed
me.
to go on one of those trips and you got left out last
What?
second? Is there a reason why you hate Jon Jones?
I don't
Look.
hate Jon Jones. That's speculation.
It's okay because you're not the only one. A lot of people try to take Jon Jones' accomplishments away from him, and I think it has a lot to do with what he's done, like the DUI,
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
the car crash. There was a DUI. There was a car crash where he hit somebody and then fled the scene.
And
there
he left some stuff behind
the
too.
failed drug test. There was the cocaine test. There was all sorts of stuff that has happened with Jon Jones.
That kind of tarnished him, right? So I'm not wrong.
There's
AJ
that
is
element,
not wrong.
but there's also the element of he's a great athlete, better than everybody else, and he's kind of cocky about it, and people don't like that. It's a little bit why people hate LeBron James for some reason. I guess there are reasons. I don't really follow basketball, but to me, I just see him as like this great basketball player that people seem to dislike. I don't really understand why. With Jon Jones, I get why people dislike him, but I also watch him in awe and am impressed by him. I will not tell my son to look up to him as an example, be like him as an MMA fighter. I would say be like George St-Pierre. But hey, if you want to look skill-wise, creativity, athleticism, Jon Jones definitely has it all, and he may be the greatest ever.
Don't ask Jon Jones to be a role model for your kids.
I was just about to say that. Look, he could be
better
a role
be the
model.
role model.
No, listen, he could be a role model in a sense.
exactly.
Listen, Dave, everybody messes up in life. Jones messed up. It's what you do with that mess up, mop it up, and move forward. And that's what he's doing. So, look, you're saying that I rib him, rub him, whatever way. It doesn't matter because the future.
That sounded even worse.
Whatever it comes down to is this.
Whatever way.
Whatever way. What it comes down to is in the future, if we look at Jones in 10 years from now and the guy has redeemed himself, he's clean, and he retires as a legend, you know what? Everybody makes a mistake, and that's what champs do. They come out of the ashes like a phoenix, and they move forward.
Okay, so
And
you
Jones-
have him beating Thiago Santos on Saturday night?
Absolutely. And
Thank you.
Listen to this. You know why? Because Thiago Santos his weakness is wrestling. Jon Jones is going to maul him with takedowns to the point where it's going to just be a stoppage. Jones is going to maul Santos. And you know what? Eric Anders said it the best. He says that I think it was 6 out of 10 takedowns that he got on Santos. Eric Anders is not a better wrestler than Jon Jones, and Jon Jones is going to basically dismantle this guy.
Yeah, it's like not even a fight that should be happening. It's only a fight because there's nobody else at light heavyweight right now.
So that's an extra reason why Jon Jones needs to go to heavyweight.
Thank you.
Sure, but
Destroy Santos and call out DC.
Or it's another reason why he could just stay at light heavyweight, collecting checks, beating up scrubs that don't deserve to be in there, and rack up wins and be looked at as the greatest champion ever. Like, he could go up to heavyweight and challenge himself, or he could stay at light heavyweight,
but
maintain and do his thing. And it seems like Jon Jones just wants to maintain and do his thing.
You know what? You know what people recognize? They always need a heavyweight champion, and that's what's going to mark history. You need to be a heavyweight champion in boxing. That other than Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray and all that kind of stuff.
Like,
but what I'm saying
how
is
about Jon Jones isn't?
Yeah.
How about Jon Jones walks around at like 220, 225 pounds? How about Jon Jones isn't really built for the heavyweight division?
Sure he is.
He's better built for the light heavyweight division. You think Jon Jones is built for the heavyweight division against guys who weigh 250, 260 pounds?
He thinks so.
The Francis Ngannous? Does he? If he thought so, he'd be there already.
Well, that's because
I think he's undersized for heavyweight.
I think Jones is going to become the heavyweight champion at some point in his career. And it's going to happen sooner than later.
When there's a clear path.
Listen, the only thing that I think is going to be...
GSP became the middleweight champion.
Right.
He didn't challenge Anderson Silva. He waited till Bisping was champion,
and this is his time. He
picked his shot.
Listen, Jones is going to go there and take the
He
belt.
should pick on DC.
Remember, even Bisping said, "Hey, George, you think I'm an easy fight? That's why you're coming up to middleweight now to fight me."
Yeah.
And George is like, no.
Look, and sometimes you got to pick him. I think this is going to be an easier fight for Jones to get that heavyweight title, and then he can walk away, go back to lightweight. I think his most dangerous threat out of everyone is still Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker, as he moves forward,
Johnny Walker right now is ranked number 12. He just dislocated his shoulder.
Absolutely, doing his celebration on his superworm that he did there.
He's not fighting Jon Jones for at least 18 months.
You don't have to be bright to be a champion, but you know what? The thing is that he is a threat. He's got a lot of skills.
But he's far in the rankings, and he's inactive right now, so he's not even in the discussion.
I know, but we'll be talking about this in like future episodes. And I
do agree with AJ that Johnny Walker is a prospect. I don't think
a
that
strong
he is,
prospect.
I don't think that he is the top threat to Jon Jones right now.
But you're not going up in rankings while being inactive, and right now he's number 12. So,
look, he'll be back by November. You know what? And then he won't be doing those shenanigans that he did.
So Jon Jones is the favorite, minus 800. Thiago Santos, plus 550, the underdog.
Makes sense.
Seems about right. We're all taking Jon Jones. How does this end? I think possibly
TKO.
Yeah, I think TKO is very likely in like the third round.
Santos is pretty wild when he strikes. You know, he throws these big shots, and Jon Jones is going to stay to his game. He's going to hurt him, and he's going to finish him by TKO. That's my prediction.
Third or fourth round, I'd say. Fred, what round?
Yeah, it makes sense. Round 3.
Look, I think Santos' only chance is to stay calm and like really throw shots when they're necessary. If he tries to go at a slugfest, it's going to be over. But the thing is that he has to come within that distance.
He's not going to win the technical fight.
No, he's not going to win a technical fight. But listen, he has to have a Hail Mary. But the thing is that he's got to cut that distance, and that's where Jones is going to take him down, mount him, and it's going to be a stoppage. Jones is going to stop it like at a pretty early.
You think you might submit him?
It's very possible. If anybody could submit him, Jones can do it, and that's it. That was almost my choice was a submission. But look, I'm going either
couple of close Muay Thai elbows.
It's gonna be a stoppage or it will be a submission.
How about the co-main event? Amanda Nunes, the UFC women's bantamweight champion. Wasn't she also the featherweight champion? She just beat Cyborg, didn't she?
Yep. She just beat Justin.
Did she give up the featherweight title? Like, what's the story with the featherweight title?
It's still in the air.
Does it exist anymore?
It still exists.
Is there a division?
Look, there's how many
Cyborg
fighters? Maybe
has another fight in the UFC left, so we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many women are in that division. Maybe 6.
Anyways,
it's not many.
They're fighting for the 135-pound title, not the 145 title from the champ Amanda Nunes. She takes on Holly Holm. This is a great co-main event. Holly Holm coming off a nice decision win last year, though, against Megan Anderson. It's been quite a while since we've seen Holly Holm. And I'm guessing she's getting the shot here because, she's a big name in the division, and it's not a particularly deep weight class right now.
And look, the odds have been changing. Like, as of today, I've been seeing a lot more people actually giving the win to Holly, which I was really surprised. I mean...
Really?
Yeah, and you know what? We're looking at a few different sites as well that are calling Holm to win this. They're saying she's going to shock the world again. Do I believe that? I don't think so. I mean, you're going up against Amanda, who's like an amazing wrestler. You know, she has great
She's
great
on such a
hands.
great
I mean, she
run.
doesn't have the hands and the kicking power of Holly Holm, but man, she's a BJJ black belt. She's got everything going for her, and she doesn't mind to get into like that, you know, a telephone booth fight and get in there. She's not worried about getting hit.
Amanda Nunes is so dangerous.
She's
so
dangerous, man.
dangerous in every aspect of the game. She hits hard. She's technical. She's got good wrestling. She's got good jiu-jitsu. She's
awesome.
just so good.
But that could be the most
And
dangerous part, right?
She just knocked out Cyborg in the first round. She beat the unbeatable Chris Cyborg in 51 seconds. Amanda Nunes is the greatest women's mixed martial artist of all time. The fact that she's only a minus 420 favorite is surprising to me.
Ever since she became
Amanda
a champ,
all day.
ever since she became a champion by beating Misha, if I remember, at one of those, wasn't it like a July 4th weekend or
She
something?
beat Misha after Misha beat Holly for the title. Remember, Holly beat Ronda, and then Misha beat Holly, and then Amanda beat Misha, and then Amanda beat Ronda too.
And she's been on such a run since then. I mean, you got to respect her. I'm going to take Amanda for sure winning tomorrow. I expect her to probably finish Holly, but it could be a good fight. Holly's a good striker. She's pretty big. If this stays standing up, it could be a better fight than people expect.
It could be, but I think Amanda's going to be too much for Holly Holm. I think she's going to hurt her, and I think she might stop her. She is so dangerous. And you look at the names that Amanda Nunes has beat. I mentioned Misha Tate, Ronda Rousey, Cyborg, Valentina Shevchenko.
Huge.
Twice.
Yep.
Twice she beat her, the reigning women's flyweight champion, who's a killer in her own right. And now she's going to take on Holly Holm. Like, Holly Holm is the only one that she's missing on the list of like the greatest UFC
She
women's
needs the
fighters.
heads on the wall.
She
You're
needs
right.
like Gina Carano next, and she's beat everybody from Ronda to Cyborg to Valentina. Like, maybe Amanda could drop down to 125 or 115 and fight Joanna or something. But like,
It's possible.
you know, at this point, she's beat everybody, and if she can beat Holly Holm, it's a wrap.
Listen.
Amanda Nunes, greatest of all time, and no one will touch her. And she's only, 31? Like, she could still dominate this sport for 3 or 4 more years. I don't
Even
see
longer than
anybody
that,
touching her.
for
Like,
sure.
she is the Jon Jones of women's MMA.
Agree with you. Look, if you could beat Cyborg with a knockout, where Cyborg was the most feared fighter out there, not only to women, I've seen Cyborg take down really, really talented MMA fighters in Brazil. Huge guys. She manhandled them big time. But Amanda has the knockout of the year, knocking out Cyborg. So that's a big, look, I like Holly. I thought Holly was amazing. I called that fight where she was going to beat Ronda.
Sure.
You know that.
Do you
And
think Holly shocks the world again?
it's possible that she can shock the world again?
Give me your pick.
But
It's possible, doesn't count.
possible.
Everything's possible,
Look,
AJ.
if I
What
have to
do you
put my
think is
money
gonna
down,
happen?
it's going to be Amanda knocking out Holly tomorrow.
Freddie?
Same thing.
There we go. George Masvidal, Ben Askren.
Woo, that's going to be awesome.
Biggest fight of the night, maybe.
You think so?
Well, I mean, it's the most like to me, it's a coin flip. I'm gonna go right now and say I'm picking Askren's, but I could see it going either way. Like Masvidal is a solid fighter.
Yep.
I could see Askren struggling to get that takedown and Masvidal hurting him standing up still.
I don't see it as that tight of a fight. I think Masvidal's going to get wrestled to death by Ben Askren. And I could see Askren submitting him or just riding him, beating him up, holding him down for 15 minutes and winning a decision. I don't think Masvidal has the takedown defense to deal with Ben Askren.
No, I disagree with you on that. In fact, he has a better percentage of takedown defense, better than Robbie Lawler. So what's going to happen? I agree with Fred on this. It's going to be...
This is Ben Askren we're
I
talking
know.
about.
Hey, listen, Mr. Funk, today he's like, why are you mad, bro, and all that kind of stuff. He can
Lawler
get into
was
your
doing
head.
pretty good until he got caught. I still need to be convinced by Ben Askren. Look, I want him to have success. I think he's a great character. He brings personality. I would love to see him have success to a point where, hey, maybe George comes back, because he's that type of personality that you could market a big fight with Ben Askren's. With that said, I still need to be convinced in the cage by him. Like, he's great. Great fighter. Masvidal's a solid fighter.
Look,
I'm not going to shortchange.
I think Robbie was way
combo.
more dangerous than Masvidal.
But Lawler was doing good. That's what I'm saying. Lawler was
and I don't fully agree with the stoppage in that fight. However,
no, not at all. I agree with that 100%.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
However, I think Ben Askren is going to be too much. Like, I think his grappling is at a level too high for Masvidal to deal with. It's possible that Masvidal hits him and hurts him, but
look, he always looks shaky.
I don't think that's how it's going to go.
Combo.
I mean, it's either going to go that way where Masvidal beats him standing up, or it goes the way I'm saying where Askren takes him down and does the Ben Askren thing. I think it's going to be a Ben Askren night. Fred, what do you think? I know you think
I got Ben Askren by decision, though. I'm going Ben Askren, going 15 minutes of like ground fighting and making the time long for
I think
Masvidal.
Askren wins by decision.
Look, it's simple here. Ben Askren came into the UFC fighting Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler, is a beast. He's power. He's a war, and he came in here and beat Robbie Lawler. So what it comes down to is that this is going to be a vintage Ben Askren season in his second fight. It's going to be a massacre tomorrow. It's going to be a submission by Ben Askren.
A massacre?
Yeah, he's gonna show what funk wrestling is all about.
Wow. That felt like a big turnaround from what you were saying a few seconds ago.
No, because I was trying to build it up there, Dave. You know what? And I agree with Fred. Masvidal is an amazing fighter. I like this guy a lot. If it's going to be a stand-up, the thing with Ben Askren is that if he stands up, everybody's going to be like, what the heck is up with this guy? He's getting rocked, but he's got like such a solid head.
Only thing missing was the Vince McMahon voice. A massacre.
It's a massacre. It's going to be a massacre. Right. Well, tomorrow you're going to see a massacre.
How about your boy, your favorite guy, Luke Rockhold and Jan Blachowicz? Now, this is a fight where I think could go either way.
Oh, are you serious, Dave?
I know that you're going to be mad about this, but look, Jan Blachowicz is a pretty good fighter.
He is.
And Luke Rockhold has not fought very often and has not fought in a while, and the last time he did fight, he got knocked unconscious.
Yeah, but is Blachowicz doing like Calvin Klein
February
commercials?
2018 was the last time Luke Rockhold fight. And if you think doing Calvin Klein modeling gigs for Luke Rockhold is good preparation for a fight, AJ,
he looked good, man.
I'm going to question your martial arts credentials right now. What are you talking about?
I guess you got to stay in shape to be a Calvin Klein guy.
Exactly. You
got to be handsome. You got to stay in the gym.
You need that like 12 pack.
You don't need to know how to fight.
Not like, you know what? Look, Luke Rockhold.
To be a Calvin Klein model, you think you need to know how to fight? What are we talking about here?
Listen, you got to look good. That's for sure. But the thing is that it's Luke Rockhold, and let's not forget. Mind you, he's fighting at 205. This is his weight class. Calvin Klein, man. Hashtag. But listen to this. 205 is where Luke needs to be. Being at 185, it was so difficult for this guy. He's a big guy. Some people can't do it, and he did extremely well. He was 5-0 in the UFC before he got rocked.
AJ, I'm going to help you here.
Come on.
Whenever Dave mocks you for your love of Luke Rockhold, you just mock his love for Gegard.
No, I knew you were.
That's right.
You just do that.
And look what happened to Gegard. Thank you, Freddie.
Son of a...
Musalti.
Oh, okay. So you want to get into that?
Yeah,
let's get into that in a minute. We'll talk about how Gegard is rightfully accusing people of cheating. Because
right.
The only people that ever beat Gegard are cheating, okay? It's not right. Anyways, I think Luke Rockhold possibly loses tomorrow. Jan Blachowicz is super dangerous.
I got Luke still.
I don't know, man. This is going to be a tough fight.
Are you going to say, like, honestly, you think this is going to be what kind of a win? What kind of a win do you think?
Knockout.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how this is going to end.
I think Blachowicz might knock him out, but okay, I'm going with Luke Rockhold. Like,
what?
I think
Talk about a flip-flopper,
well,
man.
No, I just wanted to mess with you because he upset me with that Gegard stuff. I was just messing with you.
You got into his head like McGregor does. Awesome.
I do think Rockhold is a better grappler.
Freddie, 1-0.
I think he's a better grappler, and that'll probably win him the fight.
Exactly.
But I wonder if he'll be able to take up.
He's not just a better grappler.
I wonder if he'll be able to take a punch.
Oh, come on. Of course he will.
He hasn't fought in a while. He's getting old. He's got a lot of miles on his body.
Bisping knocked him out.
Yeah, but that was just a rough weight cut. It just wasn't a right fight.
People
Everybody
are
loses.
asking the question whether or not Rockhold can still take a punch. He got knocked out by Bisping. He got knocked out by Yoel, and
Yeah, but
people are wondering.
Yeah,
That's
but
all I'm
it's Yoel
saying.
Romero. You got Bisping. It happens, man. It just was. It just his body is not meant to be in that division.
Right, and now he's at light heavyweight, and you think he's going to make a run.
Yep.
And I could see him with a win over Blachowicz, jumping the line and getting Jon Jones next because, hey, why not?
It could
getting
happen.
killed by Jon Jones.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how the fight goes tomorrow.
I can't wait for AJ to pick Luke Rockhold to beat Jon Jones, and then to see his devastated
heartbroken.
face when we do a watch along and Jon Jones beats the beautiful off Luke Rockhold.
Look,
He
tomorrow.
will rearrange his face.
Hey, listen, man. This guy is. He's such a hard worker in the gym, man. This guy is
Oh,
amazing.
stop putting him
Listen
over.
to this.
Oh my God! You gonna
Tomorrow-
rub him
listen.
too?
Well, no, he's a Calvin Klein
Going
guy.
with the
I'm a Ralph
stereotype.
Lauren
He's
guy.
such a hard worker. You don't even know if
You
he's
don't
No,
hard.
I've seen
hard.
him training, man. This guy is. He's
Where?
so competitive.
On videos that
No,
the
his-
UFC put
you,
out?
You talk to Cormier, and you'll talk to all his.
Have
like,
you talked to Cormier?
No, I haven't talked to him
So
lately.
you heard Daniel Cormier on a UFC talk show talking about how
He
Luke Rockhold
loves-
works hard, and you
Yeah,
believe that.
Of course I do.
Don't believe
I
DC's
believe
lies.
What? How blasphemy, Dave?
You believe Dana White's lies.
Well,
when,
DC doesn't get caught for like.
when Dana White
picograms.
when Dana White tells you that Tom Cruise and Justin Bieber are going to fight in the UFC, you believe him.
I want to believe that. I want to see that
When
fight.
Dana White tells you that Conor McGregor's retired, you believe him.
No, I didn't. I
When
knew
he tells
Conor
you
was
that
coming
Brock
back.
Lesnar's retired and George St-Pierre is retired, you believe Dana White's lies.
Listen,
Don't
listen,
believe
don't get on
the
Dana's
lies
back.
of Dana White.
What are you talking about? He's like he
He's a-
just won Man of the Year. Did you know that?
In what?
For the MMA
AJ
awards.
Weekly?
No,
okay,
he wa-
AJ,
wait,
we're
yeah.
good. Diego Sanchez taking on Michael Chiesa Saturday night. That's a pretty nice fight. Diego Sanchez has been fighting forever. Chiesa minus 360, the favorite. Does seem about right. Chiesa seems like the more...
Diego offered another
Relevant.
a nice face-off today.
Yeah, Diego was like really mean at the
Intense.
face-off, really intense. Chiesa coming off a win over Carlos Condit, which is a pretty
Which was
big
a really
win.
good submission.
Diego
by the way,
Sanchez coming off a win over Mickey Gall, which was awesome. This is a tough fight. I'm going to go with Michael Chiesa. I think he probably wins, but Diego Sanchez is a guy you can never, ever count out. Diego Sanchez won the Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Season 1. It was him and Forrest Griffin.
Forrest, run, Forrest.
Okay? The Ultimate Fighter Season 1. I just want to give you an example of, like, who was on that season,
Lieben.
right? Josh Koscheck, who's retired. Kenny Florian, who's retired. Chris Lieben, who's a bare-knuckle boxer. Who's basically retired from MMA. Forrest Griffin, retired. Stephen Bonner, retired. Mike Quick-Swick, retired. Like, so many of these guys that were on this season, pretty much everybody that was on this show no longer fights except Diego Sanchez. And he's still winning, and he's still competitive, and he's still dangerous. So,
Well,
you know, whatever he does
he's
on
fun.
Saturday,
He's
he's
fun.
awesome.
He's fun.
But
And his fights are always good. Like, Diego Sanchez is
They
one of
are.
the greatest fighters of all time. Even though he's never won a title, he's one of these guys that'll be remembered as a legend of the sport because he's just had so many great fights and has had such longevity and success in his career.
But you can see that his striking has declined over the years, and this
Sure.
this fight is going to be
It's
just
never been
strictly.
great.
No, it hasn't
I mean,
been great.
remember
but it's
when
declining.
he got that title shot against BJ? His striking was very like basic. Like, no, honestly, his striking's never been his bigger strength.
No,
I think his
and-
bigger strength is his heart. Never gives up. He's always
His
dangerous.
chin.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy can take a punch like no other.
But that's
I'm
why-
going. I'm
This-
going Chiesa. Probably tapping him tomorrow.
Have you
Chiesa-
guys ever seen a guy who's made a lot of his victories based on his chin and his toughness have this kind of longevity? Like, does
No.
Diego Sanchez have the greatest chin in the history of MMA?
Well, you know what? Pat Cote had a pretty good chin too. Let's be honest. I mean, that guy got rocked several times.
but
and I
eventually,
think-
didn't he get knocked?
Well, he got knocked by Cowboy Cerrone. That was the
Yeah.
beginning of the end.
Like, eventually it does happen. Like, but
Sure.
Diego, I don't think he's ever been knocked out.
No, but he's like this guy has. Look. It's gonna be. He's a wrestling.
I don't know.
guy,
He lost
and
a couple. You're sure he's never been?
He's
knocked?
lost by TKO, but he's never been like knocked out clean. Like the BJ Penn fight was the first time. It was a doctor stoppage.
Yeah, cut.
Because it was a cut. Joe Lozon, it was a TKO due to punches. Oh, I guess Iaquinta and Matt Brown recently apparently knocked him out by KO, but I'd have to see that again. I don't know if he's ever been like I can't remember a time when Diego Sanchez has been in the cage out.
He's
cold.
in a lot of wars, so people see Diego Sanchez as being this tough guy because he's in wars where he gets beat up a lot, but he's always there. With that said, I got Chiesa either tapping him or maybe Diego doesn't tap and goes to sleep. That's how I see it finishing.
I think it's going to go to a decision. I got Chiesa by decision.
I agree with Dave. Exactly what I was going to say. It's going to be a complete wrestling match, but it's going to decision.
Hey, Fred, you know what Chiesa means?
In Italian?
Church.
Yeah, church. Wow,
Yeah,
Dave,
what?
I'm surprised.
I'm
you know this stuff.
international, AJ.
You are, man. You're a man of mystery.
We got Gilbert Melendez on the prelim card taking on Arnold Allen. I know Arnold spent a lot of time here in Montreal training at TriStar. Claudia Gadelia taking on Canadian fighter Ronda Marcos.
That'll be a good one.
It feels it's been a long time since Gilbert fought. When's the last time he fought?
Gilbert's last fight was in 2017.
Oh, he's on a bad streak also.
Wasn't he suspended?
Yeah.
He's coming off a suspension, I think, isn't he?
I'm not sure exactly, but
No. No, that was a while ago. I guess he was suspended. He just hasn't fought in a while because he's lost a lot, maybe?
injuries, whatever. Yeah.
Well, this is a fight at 145 pounds. I guess he's staying at featherweight. I always thought Gilbert was best at 155. There was a time when Gilbert Melendez was one of the best lightweights in the world, if not the best. Like when he was the Strikeforce champion, you could make an argument that Gilbert was the number one guy. So I always enjoy seeing Gilbert fight, and he takes on Arnold Allen. I think I'm going to go with Gilbert in that one. The odds makers have Gilbert as a underdog, plus 265. Allen minus 325, the favorite. You surprised by that?
Well, I mean, he's lost his last 4, and he hasn't fought since 2017. So
I guess. It's Gilbert Melendez, though. And you know where Gilbert Melendez goes? Usually the Diaz brothers, not too far behind. So expect a Diaz brother sighting, either Nate or Nick or both at this week's show. Probably Nate. Nick's like not around anymore. Nate's supposed to be fighting next month, isn't he?
Apparently. We'll
That's
see
the
when
word.
that gets there.
I'm
So
trying to
that's
remember.
UFC.
Somebody said Nick is in the gym a lot, though. I read this week.
Ooh, I would love to see the Diaz brothers back.
He's probably helping his brother. I wouldn't be surprised about
For
that.
sure.
That would make a
They're
lot
so
of
tight,
sense.
those guys.
Nate is fighting. Let's see here. I think it's in August, right? In Anaheim, Nate and Anthony Pettis, August 17th. That'll
Showtime.
be the next. That's not the next UFC pay-per-view. That's UFC 241. UFC 240 will be in Edmonton, July 27th. So they're not wasting any time between pay-per-views here. Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar, Chris Cyborg, Felicia Spencer, co-main event there.
Nice
But
card.
UFC 239 is a card we have on Saturday night, and we will be on the YouTube channel right during the card, right during the pay-per-view for a UFC watch-along. When this pay-per-view gets going, tune into our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click the bell so you get an alert whenever there is new content on the channel. Guys, I know we're running out of time here. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Joanna Jędrzejczyk taking on Michelle Waterson. Looks like it's going to be official for October 12th. Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie, taking on the former champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's still Joanna champion to me, damn it. So that's a good fight. I like that one.
That's going to be a good one.
And AJ wants to do the water bottle challenge. We'll try and get to that.
Well, Michelle
eventually.
needs to do it again, too, because she
I'd
missed.
rather talk about Musalti, but
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Let's get
Musati.
into the Gegard stuff before we wrap up. So Gegard Mousasi did an interview in the Netherlands. He lost to Rafael Lovato, and he felt that Rafael Lovato was doing some performance-enhancing drugs,
Yeah, but
and he accused him of doing so for their fight. And then the people that drug tested Lovato said his drug test came back clean. But let's be honest here. Gegard isn't just making these accusations for no reason.
Why
he said
not?
he saw pictures that looked a little bit shady.
come on.
And
pictures.
yeah, and come on, guys. You think guys in
Hashtag fake
Bellator?
news.
You think guys in Bellator aren't doing performance-enhancing drugs?
You know what?
There's no USADA for
Hold
Bellator.
the horses.
Hold on.
The horses.
There's no random drug testing. It's basically an IQ test whether you can pass the fight week, fight night, post-fight drug test. That's not hard to do. That's kind of the old days of MMA drug testing, and that's the way it is in the sport in general outside of the UFC.
Dave,
when you're in the UFC, there's random drug testing. There's a U.S. anti-doping agency. It's a lot cleaner. When you're outside of the UFC, you might have to deal with drug cheats. And if Gegard thinks that Rafael Lovato was cheating, I'm on Team Gegard.
You know what, Dave? I'm going to tell you something. Well, you don't mind? Because I'm getting mad at you now. Hashtag, I'm mad at you, bro.
I'm not saying he was cheating. I'm just saying if Gegard believes that, maybe
Hold on a sec, Fred. I gotta get him on this
if
one.
there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? Remember a couple of weeks back in our past episodes, AJ was saying this. Bellator, they overlook certain testing, and you went on me like a dog to a cat. You went on me and attacked me. Remember that, Freddie? He did.
I don't remember.
I remember very clearly. I'm gonna have to go back on that episode and pull it up. And now you're going the other way?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
The Charbonneau Commission again.
Okay, so I think we both agree, though, that the Bellator drug testing is easier to pass than the UFC drug testing, and it's possible.
So what does that mean? Maybe Gegard does the same thing.
Maybe, but he says he doesn't, and he expects his opponents to fight clean, and he felt that his last opponent fought under the influence of performance-enhancing drugs.
I'm down for Musalti. I love him trash talking. I'll just say one thing, though. In his trash talk, he said, we all know it's the Americans and the Brazilians that do that. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Gegard, you train out of the Netherlands. Ever heard of Overeem? I mean, drug use is all over the world, okay? Don't single it out to Brazilians and to Americans. That's why I like to say Musalti. Other than that, man, I love the trash talk. It's a lot of emotions, and I could feel his frustrations. He's fought a lot of PD users. He even mentioned Machida. Hey, listen, Gegard has a beef with PD users.
And
and Mark Hunt.
Gegard's like, I want to fight Machida, and he'll probably cheat again and be on steroids, but I don't care. I just want a chance to punch him in the face again.
So then go back to the UFC. That's what it comes down to. If you're so bitter about Bellator, you know what? Don't whine, my friend. Stop whining. It's you know what I mean.
He's not whining. He's fighting for clean sport.
No, listen, man.
You're losing.
Be humble about it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna accuse a guy, you better have something real
exactly.
to accuse him.
How about a video of you actually seeing it? So you know what?
Because it's only okay, everybody that loses could just go okay, this guy was cheating. Yeah, it's obvious.
Exactly.
So.
You know what?
Well, it's the old Nick Diaz thing. Of course he's on steroids. Everybody's on steroids.
Yeah, but that's a Diaz.
He used to say George St-Pierre was on steroids. Didn't BJ Penn used to say George St-Pierre was on steroids too?
There was a few other people.
All sorts of guys, when you can't beat them, they say you're on steroids, but sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong, and
And look, in the UFC, if you do get caught with certain things other than Jon Jones, you know what?
You say you're a fan, but you're taking shots again.
I am a fan, but I'm taking a shot at the action of that.
Anyways, we got to wrap up your show here, AJ. We're done.
Get into the UFC.
We are done. We are done. Ringside Report Radio. I want to thank everybody for listening on the radio side. Check us out on YouTube right after not right after. I keep saying right after.
No, during.
Because it's our pro wrestling. We do the post shows. But for the MMA, we're going to do a
follow on Twitter.
Watch along.
It's a date night, man.
That's
Join
right.
us.
It's date night.
You're lonely? Come see us.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We will be watching the UFC 239 pay-per-view with you Saturday night. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. And more info for that at ringsidereport.net. You can also follow us on all the things. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. You can follow AJ at Danny Bruck. And you can follow Fred at Freddie MMA.
Love it.
Shout out to Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690. And a big thanks to you for listening and watching.
And I'm going to wear a tie.
Okay.
For our date night.
For Fred Garcia and AJ DeLesio, I'm Dave Simon, and this has been Ringside Report. Yeah, and we're still here.
Damn, is it
like
hot.
we never left. Yeah, it is super hot.
It's sweltering, man. Hashtag hot balls.
Hot balls. Maybe I'll turn the AC back on.
Yeah, maybe it's a good idea.
I don't know how loud it'll
Fred,
be.
how you doing there, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Man,
So,
now I know
guys-
what it is to feel like.
There's more stuff I wanted to get to on the show we didn't have time for.
What do you want to talk about?
This Malky Kawa thing, did you see that?
Yeah,
So
what's
he's
up with that?
he's an agent. I think he's Jon Jones' agent and a lot of fighters, right?
Okay.
So he says, MMA fans, going forward, I will now break all of our fighter news myself. No more confirmations or reporters need to call for verification. Even as things are talked about, I will tweet about them. Follow for the info as it happens. Do you guys think that's a good idea? For the agents to be breaking the stories themselves, and he doesn't want reporters to call him for verification. I don't think that's a good idea, and I'll tell you why.
I'm curious. Okay.
Why should we believe him? Like, the reporter is there to be an independent source for the news of a fight breaking. If I'm an agent and I'm representing AJ, okay?
Okay.
And I want AJ to fight Jon Jones, I will tweet out, negotiations are on for AJ versus Jon Jones, even though they're not. Okay? And then I'll get some support online for that fight, and it may sway the UFC or Jon Jones or whoever to make that fight and put it together. That's just one example. And just because an agent says the fight is going to happen doesn't mean the other side has agreed to it. So it might be putting some undue pressure or whatever. It's not necessarily a great idea. I understand why he's doing it, and I don't hate it as a fan for the transparency of it, but I do think that there's still need for reporters or news sites in MMA to kind of confirm it to make sure that it is a legit fight that's being made and not something that an agent is just trying to put out there as propaganda to get the fight made or put pressure on the promotion or the opponent.
I didn't follow the story, so I'm not sure exactly what's his deal with it. I'm going to say, like, the reporter's not going to disappear. I mean, agents, if they want, like, agents are going to put out there what they want people to know, and they're going to keep for themselves what they don't want people to know. So it's like a completely different person than a journalist. The roles do not go together, you know? So the agent's role is there to promote his own client, and people should always look at an agent as if he has an agenda, because of course he does. He's
Yeah, but he has to also think of the best interest of his client, right?
Yeah, of course, exactly.
So the thing is that
why would I trust an agent what he says? Like if an agent says, oh, this fighter wants to renegotiate his contract. Well, yeah, of course, you know, that's your role. The agent should be negotiating the best contract possible for his client. So, you know, like, I don't think it's a big story.
Well, people were upset about it. I don't think it's a big story, and maybe that's why we didn't have time for it on the main show. I don't think it's a big deal, but I think it could be dangerous, and I think he should still take calls from reporters to confirm news.
Well, if he doesn't want to take calls, that's his. Like, he's going to take calls when it suits him. Like, if somebody calls him for a news that he wants out, of course he's going to give a quote. And if he doesn't want to, then he's going to brush off the question. You know, that's an agent, man. So, I don't know. I don't see where the story is. Agents should not be trusted, period.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, guys, it's been hot.
It's been a splash.
It's been fun. You guys have anything else? Didn't we want to talk about baseball?
Oh, yeah, my baseball ticket.
Well, we don't have to talk about your ticket per se, but we were talking a little bit because I asked you guys if you watched or listened to the latest episode of Irreparable Damage, which is another podcast I have. You guys know I have another podcast? It's like about Montreal and politics and so on.
I'm surprised you haven't been sued yet.
It's not part of the Ringside Report Network. Why are you surprised I haven't been sued?
Because I've heard one episode. It was pretty controversial. But the thing is that, which is cool, man. I mean, which is cool.
You heard one episode?
No, I listened to a few, you know. It's
all right.
But you know what? When it comes down to Montreal talk, you know, it's like sometimes I'm just fed up. It's like potholes.
We don't talk about that stuff.
But that's the stuff I want to hear. I want to hear about the potholes and
okay, well, listen
people
to the radio.
I'm going to tell you why I want to talk about the potholes. Because my mechanic, Carlos from Mexico, who loves Cain Velasquez, you know why I had to go see the mechanic? Because of Montreal potholes. It cost me, I think, $900 by the time it's all over.
That has nothing to do with baseball, though.
Oh, yeah, it does. What did I have to say? Oh, yeah, Montreal News. We're talking about Montreal News.
I'm saying the baseball team is probably going to come back. I'm just not convinced that the people in Montreal are really going to support it. They might support it for a couple of years because it's new, But if there's not success, I'm kind of scared.
Look, and I told you earlier, I said location is everything because I was showing you this baseball ticket, which I carry with me at all times in case I go down. People know that AJ was an Expos fan. With Muscles, Marco.
In case you go down.
Well, you never know. Like, in case I get
AJ's going down.
Going down. But the thing is this,
I'm scared to ask what that means.
Well, yeah, with the rub and rib.
He's rubbing Jon Jones, going down on Jon Jones. I mean,
easy, Dave. Take it easy there, buddy. But the thing is, listen, the Expos need a proper location. Just like in Toronto. The baseball stadium is downtown. When you really in the downtown core, if you can walk to the stadium within 15 minutes from your office to the stadium or from a pub to the stadium, this is what keeps professional teams in place. When you have your arenas, which they are sometimes in the States or in Ottawa as well, to go see the Senators, it's a trek. The problem is that
nobody cares about the Senators.
No, I know.
Are we getting lost in the AJ vortex?
No, the vortex
Fred
is
had
this.
all these really good points about baseball
I'm just saying is
Montreal
that you
and
got to
stuff.
be within walking distance to support, to have good support. If you
I
have
say
to drive
they need
to it,
success.
forget it.
If the team doesn't have success,
Correct.
people are gonna get tired.
Success is the most. But look, you can say the same thing about the Montreal Canadiens. We haven't won the Stanley Cup in
no,
5 years.
No, you can't.
Canadian
the arena's
hockey.
always packed.
Yeah, hockey's different.
No, it's not. No. Sorry, guys. I'm going to tell you something. The true fans are not able to afford the tickets
but
that
it's
the
still
Canadians
full.
puts out. I remember me and my brother
That's
when we used to
another
sneak
discussion.
into the
Okay,
old
time.
What the fuck are you
Okay.
talking about? Stop,
no,
AJ.
Man, no,
You're
man.
confused.
No,
Stop.
no. The true fans
Ticket
can't afford
prices-
$200 a ticket.
But
you know
that's
what?
another discussion. You
No,
just switched the
You know
discussion.
what? You know what? Here's the thing,
And you
AJ.
have empty seats now out there.
No.
Come on, man.
You know what? They may be empty, but they're paid for.
Who
the
cares?
Expos had an empty stadium with tickets that weren't paid for that you couldn't give away. It's a completely different
I
situation.
understand,
A
but
better
that was
example
that
is
was
the
location.
impact. Look at the impact.
Or
if
the
they're not,
Alouettes.
if they're not good, they're not drawing. I'm
Exactly.
sorry.
You need both. You need both of that formula. You need to have a good location and a good team. I agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is that the Montreal Canadiens are in a good location. But if they don't start producing wins, people are going to start losing
They're
that
still gonna
loyalty.
spend money.
You know what? Mike,
That's not true. That's
it is
just,
true, man.
No, it's
It is
not.
true. People,
They haven't
you know what?
won in
Listen,
over 20
listen,
years.
And
Were
ticket
you- I'm
prices
gonna tell you
keep
this.
going up. Why?
Listen, Dave,
Because they're selling
Dave, were
them.
you at the last Stanley Cup parade?
No, I was 8.
Yes, and I was there. And I'm going to tell you something. It was awesome. The only
And what does that have to
it
do?
means that I'm a diehard Canadians fan because
It means you're emotional.
I felt the win. Exactly. It becomes an emotion. People need
AJ,
emotion.
let me ask you something.
See you next week, people.
AJ, let me ask you
Oh.
something. Did you follow the moves that the Canadians made over the past few days?
Yeah, I did.
Right. So you haven't given up. You haven't lost interest. You're just as
No.
diehard as you always have been. You're
Look.
following hockey in fucking July. What the fuck are you talking
Look,
about?
no, I
people
follow-
will always love hockey
Yes,
in this
and,
city,
you know-
and people don't give a shit about baseball.
Yeah,
they
but-
may say they do, they may pretend that they do, but I have seen with my own eyes people not giving a shit about baseball
Look.
night in and night out
No,
when I
no, no,
cared
no.
about baseball.
Look, when the
So I'm not convinced that if you
Listen.
bring it back, people will give a shit.
Listen, look at the merchandise sales of the Expo stuff now. As soon as you start talking about the Expos and hoping that a team's coming back, it's been years in the talk. We see Expos caps
I
and shirts
see
all
more
over
of
the
that,
world.
more of that now than when the team existed. There are more people
Listen,
wearing Expos gear
gonna tell
now
you something.
since the team is gone
If-
than they ever
if
wore
the
when the
Expos-
team was here.
If the Expos would have won the World Series when they had that opportunity and baseball was in that lockout, we would still have the
Emotional
Expos.
talk.
No, we would have had the Expos still here today. The reason why the Blue Jays have a big
okay.
following is because they've won the World Series. NBA, a Canadian team has won the championships. We need a Canadian
Okay.
team to win hockey, and the Montreal Canadiens
Hey, do you
need
think?
to do it.
Do you think we should have an NBA team in Montreal, AJ?
Absolutely.
He definitely does, right?
Yeah.
You think that too?
I think we should have an NBA team over an.
Do you think it would work?
baseball.
Do you think it would work?
Well, we already have an arena.
Hey, listen, man. Basketball was created in Canada.
yeah.
It was created
when
in
does
Montreal.
basketball season happen?
I mean, it's,
During hockey
but it's
season.
pretty
Well, look,
multicultural
If
here.
the team
You'd be
sucks,
surprised.
if the team sucks, no one will go.
Of course.
Look, no one will go, but look at Toronto. They have everything, and that's That's a city that
They're one of the
thrives
biggest cities
economy.
in the world. They're the biggest city in the country.
But you know why? Because they
Stop comparing. Montreal needs to stop comparing itself to Toronto.
No, Montreal was Toronto.
Compare yourself to Halifax. It's more apt.
What? You see, that's what I'm saying. When Montreal was a powerhouse in
at
sports.
least Hamilton or something, you know?
Man.
Vancouver.
Maybe. I think they're bigger, though.
Look, the only win
About
that
the same.
Canada has in the longest time, other than the NBA or in Montreal anyways, is George St-Pierre. So that's why I follow
Okay.
MMA. George St-Pierre.
MMA and pro wrestling. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
Yeah, but you
and
can't
so
compare
on.
him to like George St-Pierre. Come on, Dave.
Sami Zayn?
Come on, Dave.
What are you talking
George
about?
St-Pierre.
Sami Zayn?
They don't know Sami Zayn in the Philippines, but they know George St-Pierre.
You'd be surprised the reach of Sami Zayn and
No,
Kevin
he does.
Owens.
But like George St-Pierre in Japan, in
Okay.
France, even in Italy, they all love George.
Okay, we'll be back next week. I'll be back
Isn't there an actor
tomorrow.
named Sami Zayn?
I'm gonna be back with Johnny North tomorrow at the normal time, back at 12:45 for Dave and Johnny Live tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna be recapping the Ring of Honor Best in the World. I'm gonna be previewing the G1 debut in Dallas, Texas. New Japan going to Dallas on Saturday night, and also Impact Wrestling Slammiversary on Sunday. Talk
like that.
about all the international wrestling. I mean, I'm on the WWE, I'm on AEW, New Japan, Impact Wrestling. I'm covering everything. Ring of Honor. I watched the Ring of Honor Best in the World show. Fantastic. Gotta love
And you had a
professional
cool
wrestling.
clip, man. Your last clip that you guys did for the Fighter Fest that I saw.
The Dave and Johnny Live Fighter Fest intro.
Awesome. We need one for like Ringside Report. We need
Cool.
something like that. So
We'll
the
work on
powers
it.
that produce this show,
The powers that be.
get us one too.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. for more Ringside Report live. Happy birthday, America. We love
Oh,
you.
and
Happy
your brother.
4th of July. This is
Ben.
my brother's birthday yesterday. Shout out to him. Happy birthday. Love you. America. Fuck yeah. July 4th. We love you
God
too.
bless America.
God bless America, and so on.